more reported cases of the coronavirus than any other country in the world.
The hospitals look like a war zone.
Dr. Ibad Yusuf says the emergency room is overwhelmed.
That's become the usual sound throughout the day here. It's like almost every 10, 15 minutes.
But this looks like a lot of ambulances sitting here for there to be a citywide viral pandemic. I might be more convinced that there was an urgent pandemic if there was only one ambulance sitting here.
Now, this is the line to get tested for the coronavirus right here. This is where the line starts. And folks, I'm here to tell you, at this very moment, not a single person is in line waiting to get tested. This is the emergency room. And you would expect, if you believe the mainstream media, that this emergency room would be overflowing with people. And as you can tell, there are no people here.
Well, Chris, you said it. Elmhurst Hospital is really at the center of this crisis. You can see barricades behind us set up here outside of the hospital to keep order here.
Where's the long lines of the people trying to get tested? I don't see that.
People look at the testing centres. This is what they're telling you testing is going on in. Right down to the end, look. There is no testing going on in these tents.
Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
Yeah, Jessica, the doctors say that they have compiled their own data of coronavirus cases here in Kern County and used their research from the cases here to cross-reference them with numbers across the nation and really across the globe. They say that that data shows that healthy people don't need to shelter in place anymore. And of course, that's going against what a lot of health experts have been telling us so far.
I say, do we need to still shelter in place? Our answer is emphatically no. Do we need businesses to be shut down? Emphatically, no.
They have tested 5,213 patients within the county for the coronavirus. That makes up for over half of all testing done here. They say their data and research qualifies their statement.
Is the flu less dangerous than COVID? Let's look at the death rates. No, it's not. They're similar in prevalence and in death rate. So we are saying that our response now that we know the facts, it's time to get back to work.
The White House Coronavirus Task Force expert Dr. Anthony Fauci says otherwise, with national research showing COVID-19 cases to be over 10 times as lethal than the flu. But Fauci's decades of experience as an immunologist and physician holds no weight in the eyes of Erickson and Masihi.
We're actually seeing the patients. Dr. Fauci hasn't seen a patient for 20 years.
Reporting the disease, Erickson claims, is being forced onto healthcare professionals.
ER doctors now, my friends that I talk to say, it's interesting, when I'm writing up my death report, I'm being pressured to add COVID. Why is that? Why are we being pressured to add COVID? To maybe increase the numbers and make it look a little bit worse than it is? I think so.
According to Erickson, there is something much larger at play here.
This is not about science, and it's not even about COVID. When they use the word safe, if you listen to the word safe, that's about controlling you. So when I talk to all my ER doctors who work in a hospital, no stake in the game, same opinion.
Doctor, I want to read for our viewers what the CDC says in part about how to count COVID deaths relating to that last issue we just raised. In cases where a definite diagnosis of COVID cannot be made, but is suspected or likely, like the circumstances are compelling with a reasonable degree of certainty, it is acceptable to report COVID-19 on a death certificate as probable or presumed. So, doctor, what's the problem with that?
Well, in short, it's ridiculous. I spent some time earlier today just going through the CDC's manual on how to complete death certificates and the parts that were specifically written for physicians. And in that manual, it talks of precision and specificity, and that's what we were trained with. The determination of the cause of death is a big deal. It has impact on estate planning. It has impact on future generations. And the idea that we're going to allow people to massage and sort of game the numbers is a real issue, because we're going to undermine the trust. And right now, as we see politicians doing things that aren't necessarily motivated on fact and science, the public's their trust in politicians is already wearing thin.
What do you say to those folks who are making the claim without really any evidence that these deaths are being padded, that the number of COVID-19 deaths are being padded?
You will always have conspiracy theories when you have very challenging public health crises. They are nothing but distractions.
Conspiracy theories, doctor? So you're engaging in conspiracy theories. What do you say to Dr. Fauci tonight?
Well, I would remind him that anytime healthcare intersects with dollars, it gets awkward. Right now, Medicare has determined that if you have a COVID-19 admission to the hospital, you'll get paid $13,000. If that COVID-19 patient goes on a ventilator, you get $39,000, 3 times as much. Nobody can tell me after 35 years in the world of medicine that sometimes those kinds of things impact on what we do.
What am I going to do with 400 ventilators when I need 30,000?
If that COVID-19 patient goes on a ventilator, you get $39,000.
You pick the 26,000 people who are going to die because you only sent 400 ventilators.
For the love of money is the root of all evil.
I want to let you know I am a respiratory therapist. Been doing this for 21 years. Does it look like there's a ventilator shortage? There's not. Okay, as a matter of fact, we're running less ventilators right now than we would normally run. Any patient that came in with a respiratory problem was labeled COVID. They're showing the numbers like a football game to scare you. They're showing you loading bodies into a tractor trailer to scare you. I've never in my career ever seen bodies loaded into a tractor trailer.
If anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, it's most likely to be a highly infectious virus rather than a war. Not missiles, but microbes. We're not ready for the next epidemic. And a large epidemic would require us to have hundreds of thousands of workers. These things are really a global failure. The failure to prepare could allow the next epidemic to be dramatically more devastating than Ebola. It didn't get into many urban areas, and that was just luck. If it had gotten into a lot more urban areas, the case numbers would have been much larger. So next time we might not be so lucky. You can have a virus where people feel well enough while they're infectious that they get on a plane or they go to a market. The source of the virus could be a natural epidemic like Ebola, or it could be bioterrorism. We have the benefits of all the science and technology that we talk about here. We've got cell phones to get information from the public and get information out to them. We have satellite maps where we can see where people are and where they're moving.
To identify contagion risks, China relies upon its vast surveillance infrastructure, which includes security cameras equipped with facial recognition software and a social credit system that tracks all citizens' behavior. In South Korea, the government uses cell phone location data, video surveillance, and credit card records to monitor activity. And if a citizen tests positive, an emergency alert is sent out that includes their last name and a detailed record of their everyday travel. An app monitors quarantined individuals to make sure they don't leave home. In mid-May, Google and Apple plan to release a tool through an update to their operating systems that uses Bluetooth signals to log when a user's smartphone comes into close contact with another user's phone. Then, if someone tests positive for coronavirus, they'll use an app to share that information, and their phone will send out an alert to all the other users it's come in close proximity to.
It began in healthy-looking pigs, months, perhaps years ago. A new coronavirus spread silently within herds. Gradually, farmers started getting sick. Infected people got a respiratory illness with symptoms ranging from mild flu-like signs to severe pneumonia. The sickest required intensive care. Many died. Experts agree, unless it is quickly controlled, it could lead to a severe pandemic, an outbreak that circles the globe and affects people everywhere.
Let's take a look at the global pandemic numbers now. There are more than 1.7 million cases of COVID-19 around the world. The U.S. is reporting more than 20,000 deaths, surpassing Italy as the country with the most fatalities. Today alone, the U.S. recorded more than 1,700 deaths. And in each state, the local governments are struggling with making decisions about schools reopening and church services on this Holy Weekend.
You know, is spending $1 million on that last 3 months of life for that patient, would it be better not to lay off those 10 teachers and to make that trade-off in medical costs? But that's called the death panel, and you're not supposed to have that discussion.
$10 billion over the next 10 years to make it the year of the vaccines. What does that mean exactly?
Well, over this decade, we believe unbelievable progress can be made, both inventing new vaccines and making sure they get out to all the children who need them. And the benefits there in terms of reducing sickness, reducing the population growth, it really allows the society a chance to take care of itself. So you've got a thing on the left, CO2, that you want to get to zero. So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. Can we drop the number of children who die per year in half and get the reduction in sickness and population growth that comes with that? That is sort of front of mind all the time. Now, there's a type of foreign assistance for vaccines or for AIDS treatment that are incredibly effective. These are all about saving lives. And the good news is that as you make those breakthroughs, the population growth in the country goes down.
Speaking of Bill Gates and predictions about pandemics, this George magazine from February 1997 has Bill Gates in it, talking about Murdoch, money, and world domination. Right here, Bill Gates admits that he funds population control. Ironically, later in this magazine, they're talking about the year 2020 and a cashless society. It says, and we move closer to a cashless society in which the ubiquity of electronic transactions will cripple the underground economy. And in bold here it says, worst case scenario, an overpopulated planet choked to extinction by a lung-attacking virus. And remember Anthony Fauci? Yeah, he's good at predictions too.
If there's one message that I want to leave with you today, based on my experience, and you'll see that in a moment, is that there is no question that there will be a challenge, the coming administration, in the arena of infectious diseases, both chronic infectious diseases in the sense of already ongoing disease, and we have certainly a large burden of that, but also there will be a surprise outbreak.
There will be a surprise outbreak. Surprise.
With all the talk tonight about lifting social distancing guidelines state by state, there's an eye-opening new study from a team of researchers at Harvard School of Public Health. It predicts under certain scenarios the potential need for those measures and school closures to continue until 2022.
All of China is under alert. Here, just outside the capital, drivers must go through checkpoints. Fences are going up around certain neighborhoods. Like something out of science fiction, this drone equipped with a megaphone hovers before a crowd, blaring a warning.
Veuillez respecter une distance de sécurité d'au moins 1 mètre entre chaque personne. Tous les déplacements hors du domicile sont interdits sauf dérogation.
Kindly stay home, avoid gathering, and stay away from everything that puts you and your family at risk. It's our wishes to everyone to be safe.
They're the eyes and voices in the sky.
Social distancing is critical.
Like something out of a science fiction movie, but this is our new reality.
In the small town of Westport, Connecticut, a drone is scanning for COVID-19 symptoms. And the reaction here is, well, mixed.
COVID-19, this park is currently closed.
What we're doing here at this department is trying to leverage the technology that's out there and make it fit into this mold that is COVID-19. Let's say if you have 103 fever, that'll come in handy with letting us know from at a glance, are you somebody who possibly has the virus?
But these new drones are equipped not only with cameras, but high-tech sensors that can help determine if people are sick. We've already seen police use helmets in China to detect fevers. Similar technology, but up in the air. This technology involves real-time health information.
After the judge issues the order, the sheriff's department delivers it, and then Metro corrections officers go inside the house and put an ankle monitor on that patient. This is the gear they've been given to wear while inside the home.
What will our lives look like? Can fans gather at sporting events, theaters? What about busy workplaces? Some, including New York City's mayor, say part of the new normal should involve health screenings.
The important thing to recognize with the temperature checks, they absolutely have a role to play.
This device may play a role in getting the country going again. It's called the Symptom Medical Evaluation Gateway. The manufacturer says it can screen up to 600 people an hour for signs of illness.
And now Mayor de Blasio is asking New Yorkers who see anyone violating the social distancing order to report them.
When you see a crowd, when you see a line that's not distanced, when you see a supermarket that's too crowded, anything, you can report it right away so we can get help there to fix the problem. And now it's as simple as taking a photo. All you gotta do is take the photo and put the location with it, and bang, send a photo like this, and we will make sure that enforcement comes right away.
And the brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents, and cause them to be put to death.
What does opening up look like? Which activities, like schools, have such benefit and can be done in a way that the risk of transmission is very low, and which activities, like mass gatherings, may be, in a certain sense, more optional. And so until you're widely vaccinated, those may not come back at all. Because until we get almost everybody vaccinated globally, we still won't be fully back to normal. And that actual decision of, okay, let's go and give this vaccine to the entire world. But the ultimate solution, the only thing that really lets us go back completely to normal and feel good about sitting in a stadium with lots of other people, is to create a vaccine and not just take care of our country, but take that vaccine out to the global population. So we'll have a lot of unusual measures until we get the world vaccinated. 7 billion people, that's a tall order, but it is where we need to get to.
Gates was talking about the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and how they're tackling COVID-19. Now, one of his answers was about people safely returning to work. He wrote that a system of, quote, digital certificates could be used to show if you've already been tested or eventually vaccinated.
This technology will help to identify who has been vaccinated or not. Bill Gates has said that life will not return to normal until 7 billion people are vaccinated and have a digital certificate proving they have been vaccinated. In other words, you will not be able to return to work without this mark, and therefore will not be able to buy or sell. And Microsoft recently patented a cryptocurrency system using body activity data called WO2020-060606. The elite never let a good crisis go to waste. Through this crisis, we've seen a full rollout of the surveillance state technology, body temperature cameras, police drones, and body scanner gateways at mass gatherings. Could this be the reason for the rapid rollout of 5G technology, to have pinpoint tracking technology on every person on Earth? Many people are skeptical of Bill Gates' vaccine, and rightfully so, and they are speculating that his ID 2020 technology could be leading to the mark of the beast. I do not doubt that this type of technology can be used to enforce the mark of the beast, but Revelation clearly tells us that the mark of the beast has to do with worship. And they worshipped the dragon and gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war against him? Revelation 13:4. There is soon to come a one world religion that will be enforced by law over the whole world. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Revelation 13:16. The book of Revelation is written in symbols, and the Bible tells us how to interpret these symbols. The forehead represents the beliefs of the mind, while the hand represents the works of the hand. We are told that God has a people who will be sealed in their foreheads, and we know this is not a literal seal. So it is logical to understand that the mark of the beast is not a literal mark, but a spiritual sign of those who worship the beast in the beliefs of their mind and in the obedient works of their hand. Those who overcome the mark of the beast are described as those who keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God, and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. Revelation 12:17. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God, and have the faith of Jesus. Revelation 14:12. And blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. Revelation 22:14. So it's clear that in the last days there are two groups of people, those who worship the beast and those who keep the commandments of God. I'm not advocating for anyone to take any kind of harmful injection or implant, but please do not be misdirected by microchips and miss the big picture. God cares about our trust, obedience, and allegiance to Him, and not the beast. Millions of Christians will be misdirected by a microchip deception and will reject it at all costs, but will willfully embrace the true mark of the beast, which will look like peace and unity among the whole world, and will look like a revival. But do not be deceived by this ecumenical movement. Remember, this is going to be the biggest deception in human history. If it looks so obvious, how could it deceive, if it were possible, even the very elect? For more information on this vital topic of last days prophecy, visit our brothers at schoolforprophets.tv and watch From Babylon to America, which has over 5 million views on YouTube alone, and follow it up with America to Babylon. Check the description below for links to this and more.